Shapel. Thanks for doing the pod, man.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
These are these days when you like, where do you start? Like what? Like, I'm sure everyone's talked about Corona to death, and do you just ignore it or just move on?
I mean, it is tough because it is the most, one of the more relevant things in our world today. So it does make it a little difficult, but at the same time, I always think, through the chaos, you can still talk about good shit.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to need to address it in TV. Like, I guess script people are going to be like, do we talk about it? Do we pretend it never happened? Like,
that's another interesting thing as well, is on TV, what do we say? What do we
Yeah. That was a really classy sip with the pinky up. You just kind of like...
It's so wild because I've done that since I was a kid, and I think I don't know if I would do it as a joke or something, and it kind of just stuck with me.
It's nice. It's classy.
Yeah, it's just always stuck with me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I always loved our chats about music, like when we're hanging out. Like I feel like we're kind of like the same music generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also like a rock and a hip hop kid, so like I have like both kind of angles.
I
worked in rock music for a long time and then hip hop, and it's funny to see the different worlds, especially in like the early 2000s when it was still divided. Like you were kind of like one or the other, and it was not just what you liked, but your identity went with it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the new generation now better, where they're like, I can listen to everything. Like, what do you mean? Like, they don't have to like put on the outfit to go with the music,
Dude, I remember being younger, and it was just like it was just one of those tough things that, it was like you were just saw that as so fucking weird if that was your world, and it's like, bro, what the fuck? I'm like, why can't I? What, it exists, and I like it, and it sounds good to me. Why not?
Yeah,
why not enjoy it?
But they also sold us the clothes, like Jay-Z made Rockaware, so you could buy the outfit too. So like it was for sale,
Yeah, you could. Yeah, the fashion was the thing too. Now I'm just like, I'd say probably 99% of the shirts I wear are band t-shirts, but but I look like I dress so regular. Like I'm like, I don't try to like do anything out of the ordinary. Whatever I like, I'll wear. But
normcore.
Yeah, normcore. Why not?
Yeah.
It's like I don't need I don't need the clothes to express that I do listen to this music or whatever. Make it like I'm punk.
Yeah.
This is what I'm like. Who cares?
I'm surprised goth has like survived this long. Like every once in a while, you see a goth person, like, wow, their whole thing is exactly the same still.
Exactly the same. Goth has like been just never changed.
Yeah, like this is what we do. That's it. Stopped. No evolution.
Yeah, I remember in school the goth kids. Like I hung out with those kids because we all liked the same music. But I remember they were looked at probably like the most like what the fuck, You see the pentagrams they have, like, the weird, jewelry and rings and with skulls and, and the all black and then the makeup. I remember this one dude, this was like 99. He wore a skirt to school. He dressed in all black, you know what I mean? And everybody was like, he was a very talked about thing, for wearing a skirt to school. Now I don't know how it is now in schools, because I ain't in school. I'm not in school, but I remember that being a thing that was just like, what? Like what is he doing? But I understood it. It's like, oh, I get it. Like he's a goth kid. He's just goth.
But he was probably the one guy who wore a skirt. Like that's how uncommon it was at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like he was saying he was something. He was just like, oh, like I don't know. It's just like that. Yeah, the style of goth. They I don't know. They do things like that. Yeah, it's goth.
A kilt was a skirt, right? And they wore those.
Yeah,
it just changes. Fashion goes up and down.
Yeah,
and that was like some manly, like I'm going to go fight you in a kilt.
Yeah, yeah.
like with a
Kill, yeah.
knife.
Kill was
Yeah,
like this, like, you know.
Scottish. Yeah, I'm like part Scottish, and for some reason, my mom always joked with me that I'm gonna have to wear a kilt one day. So it kind of freaked me out.
Have you been to Scotland?
No, I mean, I grew up in Canada.
Hmm.
Didn't really travel that much as a kid, so I've never been. I'd love to go
What part
one
of
day.
Canada?
Vancouver.
Vancouver. Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to go one day and see it. It seems beautiful.
Yeah, they have that comedy festival there
Oh yeah,
in Edinburgh.
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 Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I felt really bad for Michael D'Angelo, who was like he was all ready to go and like save the money and
Oh, I
nothing.
know.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people, other were trying to go to that.
Yeah,
And
so many things that have like been that's been yeah. I mean, yeah, our world has been altered a bit, but doesn't mean, you just gotta work it out. That's all it is. That's just fucking life in general, like everything, and the only reason why I speak this way is because I do everything to keep my sanity,
yeah,
and I always try to find, when majority of people's perspectives is right here, I always try to like step away from that chaos and like, okay, well, what else is out there? There's got to be more than like this. Can't be the final answer.
right.
That's how I like to think of it.
You're a contrarian. You're looking for
Yeah,
the other thing out there.
yeah, yeah. Why not? I mean, yeah, because I think that's been like the best thing for me since, like since I, got over, depression and, just found this solid groove into like really getting in control of my anger, all this stuff. Like, ever since I got into control over that, like the way I got in control is all like just learning different perspectives
Hmm.
is what's, you know, probably been my biggest push forward.
Yeah. You said something on your pod that I listened to recently that I thought was great was like you're always open to changing your mind or like reading about something and being like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't think about it that way."
yeah,
And in today's world, it seems like more and more people are like, "I think this thing," kind of like the outfit thing. They put on like
yeah,
a thought outfit and like this is
yeah,
what I think and that I'm not
yeah.
really going to go outside these narrow things.
Well, when I was like that, I was so bored, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, yeah.
It's exhausting, and it's not even a thing of like bowing down.
Right.
It's more so just being like, oh, okay, I never saw it that way, and like when that happens, the reason why I love it so much is because it opens a new door
Mhm.
for me to like learn something because I love learning. I think that's like one of the coolest things is to fucking learn. I think the foundation of self respect, is learning. Like you're doing yourself a service that's for you. You know what I mean? Like, and I think when people think they just know and they have the answer and they have this, um, it just seems so like, oh, you're kind of capping yourself off. Like, you know, you have like you kind of, I don't know. I feel like that's where a person disrespects themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's like
And
take care of your body, take care of your mind, and be a
yeah,
lifelong learner because there's always something you can always pick up another
why
book and
not? That's
yeah,
the beauty of like, and like, and the reason why I'm so for that is because I've seen such great result from it. The result of you know being open minded and learning has been really great for me. Like I've been able to take it to the stage. You know what I mean? And I may not necessarily talk about the subject that I learned,
right.
but just the fact that it gave me a new way to say something.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Is what's been beautiful. Like that's like when people, when they talk about stand up, like I feel like I'll always have something to talk about in stand up because I'm constantly trying to know and just trying to understand. Like, oh, I don't know much about this world. I've heard of this world,
Yeah,
but I don't know much about it. Let me learn about it.
yeah.
That's what I think is like, you know, probably one of the more important things that people need to understand during this period of time. A lot of it, the arguments start because a lot of people think they know, and no one's willing to take the time to go, okay, let me
Yeah,
listen
yeah,
and
yeah.
understand. Let me try to understand what do I need to hear, what do I need to look for, what like I don't like going in with this idea of like I remember when I moved to LA and all these people told me about LA and how it is and all this stuff. You know, a lot of people back home, they're like, it's like this, it's like this. But a lot of those people had never lived there,
Yeah.
you know, and I didn't live here. You know, I never lived here.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in and out of LA like a couple times, you know, but I haven't been to LA much. I've been to Orange
Yeah.
County more, like, you know, as far as travels go. But LA, I was like, oh, I don't know much about it. So I was like, why would I go there thinking I know? How
Yeah.
about I just go there and I, as I am, a person that does not know. You know what I mean? And because you want to, yeah, you want to go in with your own perception, like it's I don't know, it's just a better process
Yeah. It's
to
nice to
like go
listen to
in.
people's advice and then be like, okay, thank you. And then just do your own thing.
Yes,
Yeah. And
that's
not be too
and I'm like
swayed.
that.
Yeah.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
I'm like that when I go to a new city as well. You know, people like when, you know, just touring on the road, like the little that I've been doing, you know, before all the shit like popped off. You know, everyone was like trying to tell me about this city, and I was just like, why don't I go in with my own perception and
Yeah.
explore it for? Why don't I explore it for myself?
Right.
You know, because what the way they think of it is probably due to something within inside of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Their experiences. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
So
tells
I
you
was
more
like,
about the person giving you the advice than it is actually good advice, you know? You're like, "All right, this is
yes,
what you think, this is what you like,
yes,
this is what you like to eat. Okay, I got it.
uh
Thanks.
huh,
Cool.
uh
I'm
huh,
good." Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing. Everybody wants to sound intelligent,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like that's not the goal. Like just be.
It's kind of like what you said about being a good listener. It's the foundation of stand up and acting too. It's like listening to what the other person is doing,
Yeah,
listening
yeah.
to the audience's reaction and being like present in the moment.
Hmm. Well, think about a job. Like if you're like a service job, you know, like if you're in a hotel or something, like if you work in hotels or if you work in restaurants, you know, if someone has something, you know, wrong, like just the, you know, I for me, like, yeah, before I, you know, went full time with stand up, I'd work in hotels, and just this simplicity of just listening to the person
Mhm.
goes way further than just trying to like be combative with the
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because they say things even when you know they're wrong.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about a person: when a person comes up to you and they're angry, and you know they're wrong, if you listen, they're gonna say things that expose everything about like what they're feeling.
Yeah,
They're gonna
yeah.
expose a lot about themselves. They're gonna expose so much. So like when you listen, you hear these, you know, what they expose. They start to deliver. You know, all of a sudden you're able to deliver back in the conversation like, oh, okay, they're acting
It's
like
like
this because this and
conversational
this.
judo. It's like, okay, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I understand. You read
yes,
between the lines and then you have something to really, and a
yes.
lot of people just want to be heard, you know, that's half of it.
They just that half of it is they just want to be heard.
Yeah, they don't even want you to fix it, really. They're just like, I have a
Yeah,
problem, hear me out. It's
yeah.
okay, you don't have to fix it, thanks.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because then they start to realize like sometimes if you just let a person go,
yeah.
all of a sudden they're like, damn, all right,
Yeah, now I'm an ass. They kind of want you to be
yeah,
upset, so then now they
yeah,
feel they're validated in them being upset, and
yeah,
it's like a bad
and
cycle.
it's not even yeah. You don't have to be upset; just be attentive.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just like it is a wild thing, and I don't know. I just it's just something I've learned over um, the years, mainly because of my own personal, you know, with like the anger issues. And I was like, a lot of times I just wanted to be heard. And, you know, a lot of people didn't know how to react to that because I would react in such a big way. But, you know, with anger management, you know, they help explain that, you know, it was just eye opening. And I was like, oh, I can do that with other people. Like, you know, like I could take that and apply that, you know. And yeah, there's times like where a customer has come at me at the hotel, and I'll just like, yeah, you know, just listen. Okay, you know, like just very attentive, and
Yeah, yeah. I
you
even
know,
feel
like let
good
them.
when you make that face right now. I feel good. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
nice.
because
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, like I'm here, like I'm not
Yeah,
leaving
yeah.
you. I'm here with you right now. I want to
Right.
know your frustrations, and that's what, and a lot of times, yeah, that's what it is, and it's like, damn, like, oh, I just, yeah.
Is this stuff you learned on your own or through the like a class with anger management, or how did you approach all this depth you have?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff, like everything I've learned in anger management, I've just taken with me. Um, I think when was the last time I've been in? Last time I've been in it was probably uh, maybe 9 years ago.
Is it like Alcoholics Anonymous, but for anger? Like a bunch of people sitting in a circle being like, yeah, I punched this
No, they
guy.
have those, but I was one-on-one sessions.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was one-on-one sessions, but yeah, they do have those. But like, here's the thing about like, what they did. Like, they used the things I liked to help me with my anger. You know what I mean? Like, they took certain things. Like, I'm a big Henry Rollins geek, and I love his spoken word. So they were like, "Oh, he loves Henry Rollins. So why don't we, take this, show him this, because he'll get excited because he loves this dude." You know what I mean? And he'll listen to that. So they necessarily weren't like, you need to listen to me. There was
Yeah.
just like, okay, we'll take these areas of the things that he loves,
Ah, it's like
and we'll
custom tailored.
collectively, yes. And all they did was like, oh, you see, did you see what he said right there? That's so, and then they would boom, and then it would just click with me. All of a sudden, like, I was really listening to Henry Rollins. I was really paying attention. I was really, now all of a sudden it's being broken down. Which is what where a lot of this, all this, like, has helped me.
Yeah. Do you feel like you ever relapse? Like you can catch yourself with these tools you have now and be like, oh, I'm going down this dark place. Let me stop.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think the biggest outburst I had was probably, I'm 33 now. I think it was 24.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been doing good.
Yeah. Oh, you're young looking 33.
I know everyone thinks I'm younger than what I am, but yeah, that was my last, like, big anger outburst. And, and so, like, ever since, like, I've came to the realization, like, of the last time it was like, a big outburst, I've always just tried to, like, stay on that, you know.
Yeah. Like how big of an outburst are we talking? Are we talking like just verbally attacking someone? Is it violence or is it just everything?
Yeah, yeah, I get, like, I go to violence because that was like my natural instinct.
Okay.
Well, that, I mean, it still is. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like,
it's a, and we all have a lizard brain, back
yeah,
there somewhere.
yeah. So, like, the initial reaction, like, I want to do, like, I'm like, even when I'm like somewhere and someone says something to me incorrect, natural instinct is just like violence. But I've gotten so good at going, okay, look at the whole picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
look at the whole situation
Yeah.
before you do that.
Right.
What else can you do besides violence?
Right.
How else can you take this?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so that, like, that's where I've gotten to now.
That's kind of society as a whole. Like, let's not be violent and let's do something else. It's like
Yeah,
getting the whole world to like talk through things and not be violent. Like
yeah,
it's kind of strange that we even pulled it off. If you look at like the wild animal kingdom and stuff, like we were able just
yeah.
to be like, all right, we have rules and laws and social guidelines.
That's the thing that we should all feel blessed about, is that, like, we get to have the dialogue. Animals in the wild don't necessarily get to have the
Yeah, you
dialogue.
can't be like lion, chill. Oh, damn it, I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. We get to have the dialogue. We get to. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah,
And a lot of people are like, man, fuck 2020. I want to leave.
yeah,
And it's like, no, you don't. You
yeah,
want this. You should want this, because you know what you have. What we all have in 2020 is something to dissect. We have a wild year to dissect so much. And then also you have a story to tell down the line. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And that's what you want. You want this thing to dissect and realize, the pros of what happened, the cons of what happened. And it's just all something to learn, and then now, from what you've learned, you can take and use in your own personal life, and know what to do in the future. And also, you have a story to deliver, to others that didn't necessarily experience what this
right.
was. You know what I mean? That's like my thing, man. Like, I'm just like people, like, even like my managers and, like, these execs and
Yeah, Andy.
agents and stuff. They'll ask, like, what's the goal? What do you want to do?
Yeah,
And I've kind of gotten to the point to where I'm like, I my biggest goal is to always stay curious.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest goal.
Right. And they're like,
Because
is that a
because
sitcom, single cam? What are you thinking for this curious? And they're like, all right, chill, chill.
but like it, but that's so true.
Yeah.
But that is the reality of it. That's what I want, because my curiosity has gotten me already here. Like, I'm already sitting in the office with you. I'm already, making these movies. I'm touring. I do comedy. Like,
Yeah.
like that's what it is. Like, all that other shit will fall into place. And
Totally.
I think we get so caught up with worrying, like, okay, I'm in LA. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to get this. I need to be on tour. And it's like,
Well, LA is a town where they don't tell you this when you move here. All anyone does here is work. They wake up like they're just working.
working.
Yeah.
It's just working.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. It's just work. And it's so funny because, like, I remember when I got like JFL and these gigs or whatever, and which I'm very appreciative
Of
for.
course.
But
Yeah.
you know, I had quite a few people that would reach out to me and like, hey, I want to pick your brain, see what you do. And a lot of people, were getting answers that they weren't necessarily like looking for. They thought it was like something like where I like, maneuvered my way here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, what I did was this: I talked to this person, then this person, and that's not the case.
Everyone wants a shortcut from doing the work.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, I didn't even really know what JFL was until I got there. Like, I didn't know, like, what it meant, what it like, or whatever, because like back home in Arizona, no one's really talking about JFL. I mean, a couple
Yeah.
of people
Yeah.
probably did, but like not to the extent to where it was like, oh, we should try to do that.
Yeah. 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 It's something you learn from being here, like these more show busy goals.
Yes, exactly. And so, the I think the thing that got me it was just the simple fact of, just doing what I was supposed to do, what I really want to do.
Yeah.
I went into a situation where everyone made that the big deal, and the big deal was me. I'm like, man, I just want to do a set. I want to, just
Right. I just want to do
you know,
well, have a good set.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just want
Yeah.
to. I
Yeah.
just, I want to feel good. I just want to feel good about myself on stage. It's not necessarily, the audition that I think I'm thinking about. Like, I just want to feel good about myself, and that I was honest with myself on stage. Because here's the thing: I could have went up there, fucking killed, not got it, or whatever, and I would have been okay with it because I'm like, I fucking killed.
Yeah. Yeah. Because your rewards are internal, not external.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I get to go do another set, whatever, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Like, that's just like how I feel about that kind of stuff, and I've never really, I don't know, I've never been that way when it comes to anything. Like, as long as I feel like I did good,
Yeah.
you
Well, that's
know.
a good system and metric to have is that, like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to put the best effort, have the discipline to do that. But
Hmm.
it can't stop me. I get it. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I'm moving forward.
yeah,
And that's the resilience of LA is what you kind of
uh huh,
need. Like a duck, just
yeah,
let it like flow off you.
yeah. I don't want to. I don't want to worry about getting that or not.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. I don't want that part to stress me out,
Right.
because then, you know,
It's out of your control too. It's like you
yeah,
might kill and it just might not be your year, or they might already have a couple people in your lane, or like,
yeah,
it's part of its casting too. They got to cast a group, It's not
yeah,
just like the people who killed the most.
uh huh,
It's like you have to kill the most and fit like this set of people is what we think is represents comedy this year for us.
exactly. And here's the thing: even if you didn't get it, you still get to do stand up.
Yeah. And you still get to try again. Yeah.
Yeah, you still get to go out and do stand up.
Yeah, yeah.
You do, like, that's the thing that people, I think, tend to forget is like,
Yeah.
oh, you get to go out and still do a set. You can go do a set like after this audition.
Right.
You have the opportunity just to go out and do more sets.
Yeah, and to prove them wrong.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
love stand up, right?
Right.
Okay, then fucking, go do some more sets. That's the, I don't know. Yeah, I that's like that's what I've built up, the mentality I've built up in LA. I never say things that I want,
Mhm.
because I'm like, that'll fall into place. The thing I want the most, I just don't want to suck.
Right, yeah. Not suck. I mean, not sucking is a great goal.
Yeah, like that's I'd break it down to that much, and people would see me at open mics and they're like, "What are you doing here? You tour?" And I'm like, well, "I don't want to suck,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I at least want to be like, why would I like what I get? So that road gig is for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm here during the week. Why would I not go up?
Yeah, real comedians go up every night, right?
Why would I not go up? Why wouldn't I? That'd be so crazy to think to just rely on the weekend to do something I love.
Right. Especially when you have the option to go out there and do it and reps.
That's like an athlete just relying on the game.
Yeah.
To show that they do what they love.
Right.
That's how, like, it's like such a weird thing to me. I'm like, I'm not just relying on the fact that I got a 6-show weekend.
Yeah. It's like skateboarding. No. I saw your skateboard post, and I was a big skateboarder. And Mark Norman and I talked about this too. It's like, it's very similar to like jokes and comedy. It's like you just do on your own with a curb, with a bot, and then the gratification is doing the trick.
Doing the trick
and landing the trick, and there's nothing better than that feeling.
Yes, that's the best feeling, because dude, it's yeah, you guys are totally right. I never thought of it like that. See, you gave me a new perspective. But but yeah, skateboarding. But yeah, you're totally right. You're just doing.
Yeah.
You don't even realize that you're just doing. It's just you're just trying to get a trick.
Yeah, or if you're trying to do a line and like you think too much about the next trick, you're gonna fall.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
when this quarantine's over and you're back from Riverside, we'll go to the park.
Oh, 100%. I'm so down for that.
And so your podcast is actually called Anger Management.
It's managed.
Oh, it's managed.
Yeah, it's managed.
Is that a reference to the anger management?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got it under control.
Well, people ask me, like, because they think your anger, like, people genuinely think your anger's gone when you go through anger management. I go, no, it's managed.
Yeah, I think that's what they tell you in Alcoholics Anonymous too. It's like you're still an alcoholic. You just have it under control.
You just have it under control. That's literally what it is. Like that's like but that goes for like a lot of things. Anxiety. If you got anxiety, you're always gonna have it. It exists.
And it's always gonna flare up, and it's a wave.
Yeah, and that's what, like, the that violent instinct. Because that was the thing that I like. I grew up with an abusive stepfather. So, like, from the time I could remember, all I knew, like, oh, violence is a way to react. And to break that cycle, you still have the instinct. Like, I still feel it. Like I said, if someone says something incorrect to me, like, I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it, but it's just, I know 100% I'm not going to act on it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of habit breaking is like taking a habit and not just saying, don't do that, but replacing it with a better habit.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So it's like, instead of reacting this way, I have to put in a new reaction. If I just say, don't do this, it's not going to work. It's still going to flare up.
You have to replace it. You have to replace it. That's the key, man. Like, how do you, like, expect to understand what not to do,
right, if
you don't replace it with something? You know what I mean? You got to give yourself that alternative.
Absolutely. I saw some of your videos online about the cheer videos you post too, man. You were pretty dope.
Oh yeah. I was.
I'm probably still are, yeah.
Not. I could do a little bit. Like, I could still, like, the flipping stuff, probably not so much, but like throwing the girls up and stuff, that's probably, like, still.
Yeah.
I could probably still do that. It's been a minute since I've done that part, but I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, and plus I work out all the time. So, like, I still understand the concept, of lifting and knowing what to do.
Are you ever tempted to, like, throw it into a bit and be like throw a dance into a bit or something? Or is that just two worlds you want to keep separate?
I'll keep those worlds separate.
Yeah. That's probably a good call.
Yeah. I talk about it, and, like, through the way that I talk about it, it's actually been really hard to, like, find a way to bring that on stage, because I'm like, man, so many people don't understand it.
Yeah,
there's a lot to explain. people think, because people have this perception of cheerleading, and I'm like, no, that's not what I did.
Yeah.
Like I did strictly, competitive cheer where I just competed. Only time I did school cheer was when I was in college, for the college, colleges and stuff. But otherwise, like they have these clubs where it's called All Stars, and you just do competitions throughout the year.
Right. It's kind of like gymnastics in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you miss Arizona?
Yeah, I always miss Arizona, but I don't need to live there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I went there for my
Yeah.
honeymoon. We went to Camelback Mountain.
Oh yeah,
It was
that's a good one.
It was stunning. It was like being outside the U.S. in the U.S.
Yeah, Arizona has some very beautiful areas. You know, I just get so damn bored there.
Yeah, it's
It's
violently hot too. Like
violently hot.
it's
Yeah,
like whoa.
dude. And every time, like when it gets to like its hottest points in the summer, we'll always hear those like deaths of people because what happens is a lot of tourists they'll come there during the summer and they'll try to hike those mountains.
Yeah,
And I go, that's the worst time to ever hike those mountains because, you know,
you don't know how dehydrated you are until you're dead, basically.
pretty much, pretty much. And then, like, whenever we hear about the deaths, it's usually someone that's not from Arizona.
Right.
And it's like, like, they need to block that shit off. Why haven't we blocked that shit off? Because it's seriously dangerous.
It's dangerous. I remember driving there. I think it was on the 10. There's like a big nuclear power plant outside of Phoenix on the way in. Yeah. And this is the epitome of human thinking. Like all this sun, let's build a nuclear power plant.
Dude.
Like put some solar. Like it was just so insane.
The sun could spark anything.
It'd just be like, it's like in the windiest place with clouds, you'd put solar. It's like, it just seemed like such the opposite thing to do.
Yeah.
But
it's dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's
we solved the energy crisis, so that's good.
Yeah.
I love your Oasis bit that I think you did it on Comedy Central.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite.
I'm a big Oasis geek.
Yeah,
I love that damn band. It's one of my
I love that beef
band
that he got into with Jay-Z. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, when was that? Was that recent?
No, that was like 10 years ago at least.
What was it?
They started going back and forth on like media or something.
Yeah.
And then Jay-Z came out and with the guitar and played Wonderwall and sang it.
in their town.
Was I?
Did he do it in their town?
Yeah, I think it was in England or somewhere out there.
Yeah, I think he did it in England.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's so funny because they're. I mean, here, look at it.
Okay. Oh, the wallet.
Yeah, a fan made me this.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's like the Pulp Fiction wallet, but Oasis.
Yeah, but Oasis.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that bit's a funny bit just because, like, I just explaining my world of like, being a black dude that's into that kind of stuff, and like, yeah, it's so wild because like I'll get a lot of people that'll reach out to me about that kind of stuff, and just sharing their stories of like, yo, man, I've never felt comfortable in my own skin, because of the way I was treated.
Yeah.
Just based off of the things I was interested in, and I don't know, like in somewhat of a way, people have called me like a voice for those people because I'm totally not even with like being on King and the Sting, with Theo and Brendan, and we it's all jokes. Like we all joke and they'll joke, about my love for that stuff, and and I can laugh about it because I'm not ashamed of it. It's not like something like, like I'm not offended that they do that. And some people think like, oh man, fuck what they say, and I'm like, listen, I don't care.
Yeah. You're having fun.
I've never stopped listening to music. Yeah, have fun. Yeah, you can fucking make fun of me all you want. Like if I was younger, it'd be different. When I was younger, I did used to get upset about it. But now that I'm 33 years old, I'm like, listen, I've been the same fucking dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my interests, have evolved, of course, but like it's pretty much been the same. Like if I dig something, I dig it. And I don't care.
When you grow up in two worlds, it's like you can navigate both worlds easier, but you're never comfortable in both. Like I'm half Moroccan, which is like North
Hmm.
African country, and then my
Yeah.
mom is white English ancestry. So like I never really felt comfortable in either, but I feel like I can
Hmm.
navigate them both, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. But like
Oh, so you and Andy? What is Andy?
Andy's Egyptian.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But right now, but it's right. Is
It's
that right
close.
near each
Yeah, it
other?
was it's
Close,
they're
yeah.
both North African
Yeah,
countries.
yeah.
But you know, when you grow up in like a, you know, multi or mixed thing, it's like you just don't really know where you are, you know.
Yeah, you don't know where you are. You're confused about yourself because you have all these people saying this about you,
Yeah.
and all you did was just jump into a world that that was different than what everyone else was doing. You
Yeah.
know, and that's how I was. And I've always been that person. Like I've just always like if I hear a lot of people doing this or saying this, I
Yeah.
always fucking
Yeah,
just
yeah.
get out of that chaos because I'm like, man, there's got to be more to it. Like especially when you look online and you just see people constantly, you know, thinking just the way they talk about things, and I go, God,
Yeah.
it's fucking
Well,
annoying.
they
Like,
want to nudge you into. It's why we have all these wedge issues too. It's like they want to put you in one box because it makes the thinking and to divide and control easier. It's like you're this or
yeah,
you're that. It's like I
yeah,
want to be both. Like, you can't be both.
yeah, you can't be both. You can't have no fucking middle ground.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about that shit. There's no middle ground.
I love that Russell Peters bit. He talks about he's like because he's Canadian Indian, and he's like
Hmm.
he goes to India. He's like, oh, I'm gonna be Indian with my people. Like this is like I feel like I'm at home. And like the second he got off the plane, he realized how Indian he is not. Like,
Yeah, that's true, man. It's the realest shit, And what's so wild is that like our world is like as far as like you know me being a black dude that listens, the whatever, like us, jumping into different, areas. It's such an unknown world. It's a unique world, that we've like crossed into, to say, and that's one of the things like with my culture, when it comes to my ancestors and like the slavery, and all that stuff, and the civil rights movement. I always think about like you know what they did for us. They did these things for me to be able to enjoy Oasis, for me to be able to enjoy skateboarding and playing the guitar with heavy distortion and to enjoy these things like they gave gave
yeah, they push
me
the
that,
boundaries. Yeah,
push the boundaries and helped give me that kind of life to where I can be into that world and also understand the fact that I still am black and like that's like the fucking obvious, the obvious thing about me is that and that's what people do. They'll try to take it away from you. They'll try to take that away from you, take away the fact, um, of jumping into a world that's different than what you're supposed. When I was younger, yeah, like that. I did have these identity issues on a racial level because of it. Because you don't know. Because especially when you hear it from everybody, you hear like I would hear it at home, hear it at school. So like it puts you in a position of just confusion, and you don't know where you stand. That's like the shittiest thing for a person is not knowing where they stand on an individual level or just in general.
well, I love that post you did about it because it really touched me as well. Like in
Yeah.
terms of like being kind of between the two worlds.
Hmm. Yeah, it's for years, and then all it did was it just took me reaching out to my my biological father and just getting to know him, and we lived such different lives. He was gang banging into drugs, and dealing drugs, and serving time in prison. Like, it was just such a different lifestyle. And, I had put him in this area that, I was like, oh, he's not going to like me. He's, like, yeah, I don't know. I just think I was like, he's probably not going to like me. But like, just me reaching out to him and then his acceptance,
Yeah,
it's not like he was like, oh, I accept that you do this. It was
right.
just like, he didn't even think twice about it.
Right. It was just
That's
all
what I
love.
thought was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit. And then, he just started showing me pictures of like my relatives, family, all this stuff, that to where I was just like, man, like, and like, yeah, this is like him saying, this is your family, this is your great grandfather, this is, it's like, oh, so this is I can hold on to this. This is
Yeah.
something for me
Right.
to
You can
have.
embrace that
And
piece of you. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
embrace this. Oh shit, because he's not saying like, I don't know. He didn't put me, away from it, or like make me feel like I wasn't a part of it. He
Right.
made me feel like I was. This is for you,
Because you probably had fears about that going into it. Like, what if he doesn't?
dude. one
What if,
hundred
yeah,
percent,
what if he thinks I'm this or that?
100%. Especially when you're not so aware of yourself, like, and that gave me the confirmation that I was like, oh yeah, I've always been, like when people say like I wasn't finding my blackness, it just always been there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
When people were like saying you're like, I'm like, no, it's always been there. I've never not been it.
Right.
Never not been it. It's always been there. That's how I like to think of it. I don't think of it as like finding this blackness, because that makes it seem like
It was
I never
lost.
had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was lost, and I never had it.
Right.
And reaching out to my father made me realize I always had it.
Mm-hmm.
Never not had it. But just the simple fact of saying that it's your great grandfather, he did this, this is your grandpa, this, that, just giving me these stories and saying,
Yeah.
this is your,
Right.
hearing that is what um made me go, oh, I've always had it.
Yeah.
Oh, never not had it.
Right. It's like on a video game when you see like there's a map and it's like grayed out and like the map goes that way, but it's nice to move the
Yeah,
gray and see like
yeah,
this is okay, cool, that this is my history. Oh, here's some
yeah,
people.
one hundred
Yeah.
percent. It's I don't know, it's a beautiful thing that and like I said, yeah, me posting that, I had so many people reach out to me and go, man, I've never talked about this, but this, and this. It's just explaining their stories. I got like people that were talking about they hated their own skin because they felt like it couldn't be theirs, because the way people make you feel like I said, they'll try to, by the things they say to you, they try to take it, in a sense, take that away from you. And it's like, no, that's yours. It's for you to have. Like you have a fucking story. You have a story that may be better than most. Because here's the thing, you're not a person going around making fun of someone saying, oh, you're white, you're not, black, you're not this, you're not that. Like no one's giving you that. And that's the thing. It's like, what? Yeah, why can't this person be Mexican and fucking listen to this, or just love this? There's one time, the college I went to in Texas, it was a junior college, um, but it was heavy black, and um, I was pretty known on campus because cheerleading, and it was a small town, so it was easy for me to be known. But um, I remember at the end of the year, there's this guy. I don't know if he was graduating or he was moving on, but black dude. He reached out to me. He goes, "Man, I know a lot of people make fun of you, you know, just for the things you do, and he goes, I feel bad that I've never like really said this to you, but he goes, I've always appreciated the fact that you just are you."
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
You're
mean? He goes,
authentic.
yeah. He goes, I probably made fun of you as well, but when it comes down to it, he goes, you've always just been, a real person. Like you've never, and that's the thing. Like it's easy when I think of this. People that are part of groups, the thing is like a lot of these people in groups don't know themselves without the group.
Right.
I always think about that. What do I know myself as an individual? And oddly enough, punk rock was like the thing that taught me that, because it's like, hey, we all listen to this music, we enjoy this music, we come to the shows, we march together, we sing together and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it always preaches that you got to have your own mind. I can't think for you. You got to think for yourself. And that was like, you know, one of the things that I've always held on to with punk rock is just being able to think for yourself. It's like, oh, so like, yeah, this punk thing is it's a group, whatever that you really think about it. It's a group, but at the same time, you know, the thing is to promote the thing for yourself. And a lot of people don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. Like in any type of group, they go, oh, you're this, you're a punk, so you have to think like this.
Right.
No one tells you that. No one's ever said like.
But it's also like when you ask someone like, "Who are you?" They usually say the group first. They say, "Oh, this is my job. I'm a lawyer."
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I'm a political
Yeah.
this. I am like, but like who are, and it's a hard question to answer like without naming what group you are.
Yeah.
Like who are you
Yeah.
without the group? And it's a very, that's like when you're like taken aback, you're like, "Oh," you start to question like
You
these
start to
things.
question, who are you? Who are you without this?
Yeah.
So if you didn't have this group to be able to think, who are you without that?
Yeah.
I think that's the
That's why
fucking
it's so hard to
question.
leave groups. Like even changing like a job, like,
Yeah.
I went from like music to comedy, and music was such a big part of like my identity.
Yeah.
And to like leave a portion of your identity behind is hard.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing. What are you without this?
Yeah.
I asked myself that question with everything. What am I without comedy? What am I without this? And you gotta know that,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden the things that you are in, you find this appreciation for, and also when something changes of the group, you're not weirded out. You're
Yeah.
not like, you know, you're not like, oh damn, what the fuck am I gonna do now? Think about that.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
about that.
What if comedy was banned? Or like because of the virus, you could never be a comedian? Like how many identities would be in crisis? I mean, they are right now even.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you without it? Like and people don't realize they have much more than they actually
Yeah,
think.
much more to offer.
Way much more.
Yeah, yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
It's
LA though. Like LA, everything in this town, if you're in entertainment, is like what thing are you in entertainment? And like you said earlier, like goals. Okay, all right. So what are your goals?
yeah,
You're trying to get this thing, right? We're trying to do
yeah,
this.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's like that's why people get so shocked that I know how to do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the biggest thing I do right now is comedy, but like I don't necessarily like. I also not skate. I play guitar. You know, I I do a lot of reading. I have a lot of introspecting. Like these things that like I work real hard at. Like I work real hard at just everything I do, because I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm not like.
You're gonna be Chappelle 100%. You're not gonna like, yeah,
Exactly.
put the
Exactly.
put the good stuff in the mind and the body.
100%. I just yeah. That's what it like. What like I feel like everything I do helps me be honest with myself.
Yeah.
It's not just comedy that helps me be honest. It's not just skateboarding. Like there's more to it. There's a lot of things to it. I learned something in all these areas that I could take, and I'm able to walk through life being honest with myself.
What are you reading right now?
I keep wanting to say "Be Here Now," but that's an Oasis album. Yes, the power of now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
kept.
love the
I was
power
like,
of
it's
now.
not. I keep thinking. I was like, it's not "Be Here Now," because I
Yeah,
kept
yeah,
thinking of
yeah, yeah.
Oasis. But yeah, the power of now.
Yeah,
That's
that's a great one.
that's been like super super beneficial, um, especially with all that's going on right now.
I think he's Canadian.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't know.
Equato's
Canadians like
Canadian?
to say other people are Canadian.
Oh, okay. That's pretty funny. But yeah, like that book, because I think, like, yeah, a lot of things have like altered for a lot of us. I think that the one thing that we do forget is to the power of now, to just be, just being. You know what I mean? Just existing and understanding what's right in front of you.
Hmm.
And that's something I always try to do. I work so hard at this stuff because I know what kind of person I am without it. You know what I mean? Without all this stuff, I know the kind of person that I've become. I like, or that I was. I was a person that was just, very little hope. Didn't believe in, didn't really have much to believe in. In the stances that I thought I was taking a stance on, I thought were important stances, but they necessarily weren't the most important stances um, that I had. So I just remember being so just kind of like existing in a way but with nothing. You know, I believe in existing, but like existing when with nothing is like it's a different level. Kind of just like it's very, very dry, very bland.
Well, we do talk a lot about goals in the pod because it's like, your showbiz goals and that. But sometimes your
Yeah.
goals can be like, well, instead of adding something, what do I want to take away?
Yeah.
You
What do you
know?
want to take away?
Like what
What
like
do you want this to do?
what do I want to remove from my life to make my life better
Yeah.
instead of adding one more thing?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's the thing. When I get into something that I really like, a lot of it is I want to learn something about myself.
Mm-hmm.
What can I learn about myself through this? Like whether it's being on a TV show or in a movie, what can I learn about myself through this? And a lot of it I take to my journal. Like I take a lot to my journal and just you know a lot of it I lay out. Like I'll be on the road. And immediately after a show, I just go straight to my room because I'm excited to journal what the fuck that whole night was of doing these shows. I love it. I love going out there and
It's
just like,
nice. It helps you. I started doing this thing, daily pages, where I wake up and just write 3 pages, even if it doesn't
yeah.
make sense. Just write, 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 and it gets you in the mode to write
Dude, that's
more.
what I tell people because everyone's like, well, it didn't make sense when I wrote it. And I go, it's not supposed to.
Yeah, it's just
You'll
about
figure it out.
yeah. Because the hardest thing about writing is the first 10 minutes
Yeah.
and after that you're like, all right, I'm in a flow. But it's like starting is impossible.
Yeah. But and the thing is like when going into writing, you have to accept that it won't make sense.
Yeah.
Because what that's telling you is how your train of thought is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like your train of thought in at that moment, or just all the time. Like your train of thought is like you jump from here to here to here to here to here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you don't. And what I realized when I started journaling, yeah, that was the case. I was jumping from here to here to here to here, but I wasn't giving myself enough time on this. So it's like, oh, now I understood that. I go, oh, I'm just jumping from place to place to place. I didn't even necessarily finish over here.
Right.
You start to realize that. So then I was just like, when I came to journaling, like I had these points that, are like I go to my notes and I just, throw out my notes. And so if you look at it, so if someone just read it, they'd be like, what the fuck is going on
Oh yeah,
here?
same with mine.
But
It's like, yeah, it makes no
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
And then once I get into that journal, I know I'm gonna spend all this time on this uh, thought I was feeling. Then I go, then all I I do as much as it inspires me to do. If it's like a paragraph or if it's like a full 3 pages of it, I let that, whatever the inspiration is for that moment with that specific thought I had, is where I take it. Just so I don't I don't want to feel like, oh, I got to keep writing about this specific thought, to give it more. And it's like sometimes that thought, like
It's
that's
over.
all
Yeah.
that's all it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it was right there. And so that's how I take a lot of it. And I just, I've been able to like smooth out my journal process because of it. But yeah, a lot of it, when you're starting off is just, you just thoughts, and sometimes you're just letting out the thoughts.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing. You're doing something with these things in your head, and you're making you're giving them more value.
Right.
Is what you're doing.
Is that part of your stand-up writing process, or is this something completely separate?
No, it all
It all bleeds
comes
together.
together. Yeah, it all comes together because like based off what I journal and the thoughts, like it, like I said, it helps me go out on stage and be able to speak clearly of something
Right.
that like that's what it does for me, is just to be able to speak clearly.
Right. Like understanding what you're trying to say is such a big
Mhm.
part of everything.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, so I do this joke about growing up was my abusive stepfather. And a lot of times people will get weird about it because they hear that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I remember like, people just get uncomfortable. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was like, I'm locking into this joke.
Yeah.
It's means
Stay
something to
with
me.
me. Yeah.
And I'm gonna, but what I've done, I've written about it so fucking much
Yeah.
that I've found ways to get people to be comfortable with it. I go, well, why don't I say this? I could say this. Why not? It may not necessarily be funny, but it's interesting and it sets them up for what they're about to
Right.
hear.
They're listening even.
They're listening.
Yeah.
They're listening. You know what I mean? Because if they get uncomfortable, that means they're listening to what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's like, listen, I can talk about my story because one, I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with it. I've overcome so much. Like I say these specific things up top,
Right.
and then I'll make a quick joke of like, whenever I talk about this, it's always white people that go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But black people, Mexicans or whatever, they'll be like, oh, hey dog, sometimes it be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll say these things and it gets them to understand like, oh, yeah, he's so right. This is how I'm feeling right now.
Right. And it makes it more relatable because you're understanding their
exactly.
feelings. Yeah.
And I get that people don't understand it. I get that people, don't are uncomfortable with it, because I've been sitting in that and I've been like, I'm gonna make this fucking joke work. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get the, people to understand like, cause it's my thing. This is where I'm at with it.
Right.
Not everybody's able to talk about it the way I do, but this is how I do it.
Right.
And I'm not terrified to speak on it. And the only reason why I'm not terrified is because the work I've done on it.
Right. You've explored the thoughts.
Exactly. And that should give people a new perspective when it does come to stuff like that. You know what I mean? Is that, I say things right off the top. I have no ill will. I'm okay. I don't feel bad. There's specific words you got to throw in there to get them to understand like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's what gets them on board. So I say those things up top, I take them through this walk, to set it up. And then I'm able to like take them on the roller coaster.
Yeah. It's like you got to entertain them and be their therapist at the same time.
Yes. Yes. And the only reason why I've been able to do that is literally because I write about it all the time. I go, these motherfuckers, I kept telling myself, I'm going to get this joke to fucking work.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this fucking joke,
Yeah. We started our podcast around the same time. Like, what was one of the decisions you made to like why you wanted to do it?
A lot of people kept saying like, you should give it a shot. You should give it a shot. But I didn't know what, I was like, I don't want to do it because I was like, I don't know what I would do. I'm not going to just do it just because it's like, oh, you should give it a shot.
Yeah.
But then, I was talking, Brendan Schaub is the one that actually, he goes, you journal all the time.
Yeah.
Why don't you just talk about your journal? What you write in your journal? I go, oh, you're right. And he goes, and that like, yeah, I was like, I felt comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like I was like, whenever I do it, I don't feel like I'm pushing myself to be a certain way. I don't feel like I'm trying to just create something just for the sake of I'm supposed to create something. I just let it flow, just like the way I let my journal flow. Like that's what I've come to terms with doing the podcast because everyone's like, how do you just talk to yourself like by yourself?
Yeah, I was impressed. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
All right.
And I go, well, I got a lot to say.
Yeah.
I'm like, because when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I'll sit in a coffee shop, before all this happened. Like my routine was like, go to the coffee shop and I journal for like 3 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I just sit there journaling, and then I would go work out, blah blah blah. But like, I was like, if I can sit there and journal for 3 hours, then I can like, take on this and and be able to just flow with it. And I never feel stuck. I never feel like, oh, I need to say something. I need to say something. I always have something to say.
Yeah, you got a good flow.
Yeah, and that's like what I love about my podcast is like on stage, you're going up there, you want people to laugh, you want people to, but like the podcast is like, yeah, it's just strictly me talking, like, and like a lot of the funny comes when it comes, but like, yeah, I just strictly, let it out and let things exist.
Yeah, just be present. Like everything in life is being present now.
Yeah, yes, and that's what I don't know, that's been one of the biggest. I don't know, I've just benefited off of it so much. But just being present.
Yeah. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but what are some of your goals for this year?
My goals for this year, I would say my goals for this year, one, to not suck at comedy.
Well,
Uh,
that's already done. You can't name stuff you've accomplished. That's not fair, man. He's like,
hey, but you know, as far as like entertainment wise,
yeah, like things you. This is such a weird year to even ask this stuff.
yeah, I wouldn't mind having my own show.
Okay.
You know,
Have you started writing it?
yes,
All right, there
yeah,
they are. We're peeling back the
yeah,
onion. There's a goal.
yeah. Mainly because there's areas of my life that I want to tell differently than I would on stage,
Yeah.
or well, not tell differently, but speak, you know, differently. Like maybe this area, like I don't want to speak about it on stage. Maybe I want to speak it, speak it through
Like a different format.
a different format.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
What stage are you at? Are you like outline, script? Like how far are you down?
Well, I had scratched the whole thing because I was writing something that I was like, oh, this is just funny.
Yeah.
Like it's just a bunch of funniness, and I'm like, it doesn't say anything. And I was like, I just scratched it, and then I went back and like you know dug deeper into my world and my life, and I go, that's what I've always wanted to tell people. I go,
Mm,
what have I always wanted to say to people? What have I always wanted people to understand of uh, me, Shapel Lacey?
yeah.
And then I was like, that's what it is.
Nice.
So,
The story
so
of
yeah,
you.
I would, yeah, the story of me, and
Are you gonna play
because
yourself?
there's so much to my life to where it's like I had to like literally there was so much on the what do you call it, the cutting board,
Yeah, yeah.
but I had to narrow it down to like because I was like I could talk about this, I could talk about this, but I was like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I want to say
Yeah.
this.
It's just like a joke. Sometimes you have all these lines and you're like, you gotta get rid of the ones that are just okay. Even if you
Yeah,
like them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I'm excited for it, and hopefully it could be something. Hopefully it could be something that the world can enjoy. That's always
Yeah.
the hopes, and I always just wanted, the goal is just for it to be honest, authentic, and, something for people to be able to listen to.
Yeah. Well, you already got the talent. You got Andy on your side, so
Yeah.
you're ready to. You got the
Yeah.
team.
Let's go, Andy.
You're ready to go, Andy. Make it happen. Um, here's my final question I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
So, and Fahim and I talked about this a little bit. Like, did you ever think about changing your name before you got in? And why Fahim and I talked about it was like, hey, like, did we ever think about anglicizing our name? And I never did because I was like, well, it would just be such a shame. I'd hate to be like some other guy when you finally made it or your name up
Yeah.
there and something else. But for you, I'm just curious because there's another very famous Chappelle out there. Did you ever
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't?
You know what? People have made jokes about it, but like, like his name is his name because he got it that way. That's his name. And that's the same with me. Like, okay, why can't I be me? Like, it's my first name. And uh, whenever people try to say it, like, oh, you should change your name, I go, what does this situation have to do with you? I always say that to
Right.
people.
Yeah.
I go, what does it have to do with you? Do you have the name Chappelle Lacey?
Right.
Well, then why are you telling me? That's and that's not even trying to be mean, but it's just a genuine question. Like,
Right.
why? Yeah, I want you to think about what you're saying right now. But no, I would not. My mom, she gave me this name. Like why I would never.
Yeah. It's yours too. It's not just other
Yeah,
people's.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just his name. He can only have it. And like not obviously Chappelle, if you Dave, if you're listening,
Yeah. He's a fan.
no, and I met him. I met
Yeah.
him when I first moved to LA.
Yeah.
It was like I think I only been living in LA for like a month.
Yeah.
My month of living in LA, and I was going up to do a spot for Adam Egan at the Comedy Store on the Monday. He had me come in, and I'm standing there, chilling, and all of a sudden in walks Dave, and he just walked right up to me. He's like, "What's up, man?" And I was like, I'm a comedian and my first name is Chappelle, and he laughed.
It's a good way to open. It's a good
Yeah,
opener. Yeah.
he was just like hell. He was just like hell yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And, he was so cool about it. He was just like, "You going up?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Make sure you do good, man. Make sure you know just lay it out for him." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And then I was like, "Man, would it be too much to ask to get a picture with you?" And he was like, "Chappelle, let's take a picture." And I was like, "Damn."
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
was like that right there did it for me.
Right.
It was like, yeah, I ain't changing my name.
Imagine if you had, and then the whole intro is so my name used to be Chappelle. Would you take a picture? And you're like, what? You changed? Now you have a whole different
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like, why? Yeah, why? Yeah, I would never think of changing it. It's my name, and that's what I've gone by for years.
Yeah.
But just because I'm in entertainment, and then there's a very famous, I
Yeah.
don't think it like if that takes away from my name, then that's my fault.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing my job.
Yeah. Maybe if it was like your actual name was Dave Chappelle, you might have to
Yeah, that'd be
be
a little different.
be be Dave B Chappelle.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, like my that is true. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, I couldn't imagine,
Yeah.
you know.
I think Barack Obama ended the whole like having to change your name to like make it more acceptable. Like he probably got it the most. All his advisors like your name is one letter off this guy everyone hates. Like how are you're not going to change it?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm running with it. And I think that was like a turning point for people like cuz throughout history Tom Cruise's name isn't Cruise, it's like Krasinski or something. Like everyone changed their name
Oh
to
shit,
be
really?
oh yeah, to be like
I
more
don't know that.
acceptable, or whatever. And now I think it's just like I think it feels weirder to change your name because
It
you're
is.
trying to hide from something.
Yeah. It's like, why would I take that away? The only name I've the only I mean only the only thing I've changed in my name is my stepfather had put his last name on my birth certificate. So that I got rid of that name. Because
Okay.
my real last name is Harris,
Okay.
and Lacey is my middle name.
Yeah. It flows
Most
better.
people, yeah. And I just took that off because and I did that because he didn't do anything to deserve for me to carry his last name. So it's like, why would I give you that? You
Yeah.
know,
Why make it
you
famous?
yeah, and it's like you've never given me any type of like remorse or like type of feel bad about anything you ever did to me. So why would I give you this? Why would I? Well, I'm just because by default, no, you don't get that luxury.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Make your mom famous. So that's a better.
Yeah, it's like, come on, like, yeah, fuck it, like, then no, I was like, no. So yeah, and with that, like, I've just created my own. I've just like since I've done that, I've been able to like fully create me, who I am. Since I like made that kind of change, I'm like, oh yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
This is my own. This is my foundation.
Yeah. Well, Chappelle, I feel like we could talk for hours, but this was great. I really appreciate
Yeah,
you doing the pod. I think you laid out so much good advice and knowledge and depth about who you are and things you're trying to do. And
yeah,
I can't wait to hang out with you and see you
I
when you get
know.
back.
And
And
skate.
skating is on the books, so
Yeah,
definitely, dude. Thanks again.
yeah, for sure.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, have a good one.
You too.